What's going on, folks? It's your boy IllWillHuntingTV here, reporting live from where the wild things are, and we are back. And yeah, man, while YouTube diving, I stumbled across a Speak Your Clout podcast where the thumbnail was about top 10 OutKast songs. And I thought he did a really good job explaining his reason for his top 10. And he has some really dope tracks on there. Of course, the ones that you would already know. So I felt it was a very solid list, and I thought I could do my own and just kind of put a different spin on it. So shout out to Speak Your Clout podcast. I'm gonna take this and just do my own thing on this. Okay, so starting off, we just gonna get straight to it. Number one, Ain't No Thing. Ain't No Thing off the Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music album. It's one of those songs that I call an intro to OutKast song. If you never heard OutKast, or if you're familiar with them but you don't know the level of rapping, or you're just not into the level of rapping that you're used to hearing from them, I found Ain't No Thing is one of those songs that pulls even the most general casual OutKast listener in. Like, I've had so many people become fans of OutKast while listening to Ain't No Thing while being around me and I'm playing it. And I feel like because it's so hip hop, rappity rap type 90s boom bap, it throws people off because a lot of people don't realize that Andre 3000 especially could rap like that. Not so much for Big Boy, but I do know that people have expressed shock literally listening to that song with me. Like, I didn't know Andre 3000 was talking like that, because people just didn't or don't realize that Andre 3000 was a young man out here running around too. So I always find that Ain't No Thing from top to bottom is one of the best songs off that album, and is a great introduction to new OutKast listeners. Then next up we have Get Up, Get Out, Get Something from the Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music album. I think that this song in particular does a great job of speaking to the ills of procrastination, stagnation, and the depression that can come when you feel you're not doing what you expect of yourself. Not so much other people's expectations for you, but your own expectations of yourself, or not living up to what you have deemed important for your life. And I know plenty of people suffer with this and deal with this regularly and daily. So I think Get Up, Get Out, and Get Up and Get Out is one of those tracks that has a universal theme because so many people can relate to it. It's well written, the perspectives from young black men dealing with who they are becoming without even knowing where this is going to take them, or where this music shit will take them, and just speaking to the nervousness of that and what that entails. So Get Up, Get Out, Get Something is definitely one of those songs that stand out and is a standout staple of the OutKast catalog. Now for my third track, I have Extraterrestrial off the ATLiens second album. Now if you were to ask me what is a song that sums up ATLiens without using ATLiens, of course, I would say Extraterrestrial sums up what that album is, what it's about, the wonder, the mystique, the guitar plucks, the sonics of it. It's just a beautiful, well written, well done track, well executed. Like, that OutKast doesn't get enough respect for how well they execute on these projects. And with Extraterrestrial, the ability to play around in that sonic arena and make it your own, I don't think too many people just listen to that beat and listen to how dope it is and just think of how many artists could actually just rip off that. And I don't know too many because of the nature of the beats and the beat selection that they have. And that's another thing. OutKast really made hits off of the most random, dope, hot heat beats. But it's almost like, to catch that flow, where was your mind at to even be able to write to that? And they always find those pockets in these virtuoso type performances with these beats, and they don't get enough credit for that. But Extraterrestrial, please check it out, guys. One of the most quintessential OutKast songs there is. Next up we have Jazzy Belle. Now Jazzy Belle for me is one of those songs where I think it shows the depth and the breadth of what OutKast can do, and it basically lets people know the type of time OutKast was on. I can think of not too much that is as beautifully well written as this track, compared to any song. You can match it up with any artist, any songs that they have, and I think Jazzy Bell will stand strong against all of it. Of course, Andre 3000 starts talking about the essence of woman and seeing himself grow from someone that was just chasing random women in the streets to being something that wants more from it, that has gone bored. You done seen all the women, you done ran through them, you done did all that you could do, and you got some fame about yourself. But you know, you're dealing with women who either are acting like they're too bougie for their own good, you know, they're stuck up, or they're doing all types of random stuff with random guys. Of course, their body, their choice, but it's still one of those things where it's sickening to him. And so he laments that. Now, on the same spectrum but opposite end of that spectrum is Big Boy talking that player talk. Then you know what this is and what these women are about, because again, they've come into some money, they've dealt with all types of women by now, they've been on the tours, so now they're seeing a lot more interesting things that they may have never been exposed to when they were just growing up in and around Georgia, you know, or in and around Atlanta and just in the state of Georgia. And the thing that haunts me the most about this, or the most haunting part, is Big Boy is saying like, hey, this is disgusting to me, and I will ensure that my daughters know better and know more, because there's a lot of aimless women looking for attention in the wrong places and giving themselves to whomever because of the speck of attention, and wanting to make sure that he ensures a better life for his own child. And I think that's beautiful. Then coming around the corner, we have Art of Storytelling, part 1 and 2. Yeah, I cheated because it's Art of Storytelling, but it's a series if you listen to it, because part 1 and part 2 come together to make one of the dopest two-parters ever, because it has the first part is basically them doing storytelling over Slick Rick's beat, and it's really Big Boy talking about a day in the life of him being a player that he is, and the groupies that he's encountered, similar to what he was going through in Jazzy Bell. It's kind of like an extension, funnily enough, but just a day in his life as a boss, a pimp, a player, and what entails with that. Andre subverts that by going a different route and places one of the most memorable verses ever, or pins one of the most memorable verses ever, by talking about Susie Screw and Sasha Thumper, who are representative of young women in Atlanta that we've all hung out with and kicked it with, the girl next door and the girls that you used to see out and play with until the street lights come on, and him going back to see her and the tragic events that take place once he goes back to look for her after he done caught some fame and wants to show off, like, hey, not even show off, but just show up and be like, hey, I'm this guy now. And unfortunately that ends in him hearing some very disappointing news, and the way it sets up is very haunting. I think it's amazingly done and well written, one of Dre's best verses ever. And now Art of Storytelling part 2, it segues into it, almost just changes into it. It's much more darker. It's almost end of the worldish. It's urgent. It's in your face. It's a lot of different things. I can't even like put the pulse on it, because it's almost like it's a run. They're sprinting. You can almost, it sounds like they're out of breath because they're just running on the track. If you really want to delve into it, the nightmare scenarios that they are facing, or they're dealing with, or that they're seeing further ahead or just around the bend, and they're nervous and they're cautious of what that is. They don't know, they can't see the future, but they know something is up with just the way the world is moving. And I think that was very well done with both of those tracks. So Art of Storytelling part 1 and part 2, excellent tracks, guys. Please check them out if you haven't already. You won't be disappointed. Next up, we have Skew It on the Barbie, OutKast featuring Raekwon, and I tried to make sure that I didn't do too many features or make this super feature heavy, simply because I wanted to ensure that It's OutKast. It's about OutKast, and they're more than enough. So I really was reluctant to put on features, but just because of what this feature did for them abroad, or especially in the Northeast, and because in the South, of course, they were already legends. We knew what they were about. We knew what time it was, but just Raekwon giving them that boost Northeast wise, and just making sure that putting that Wu-Tang stamp on OutKast at a time when during that era there was a lot of biases going on as far as Southern rappers and Southern hip hop. If it wasn't Scarface, I think they did a great job of showing up and standing out. Andre 3000 comes in, the common denominator, the nigga numerator, never know who the hater, niggas cater to your ego. I'm sorry, like Atari, who's the cousin to Coleco, Vision, Puerto Rico, back on the streets like Chico, DeBarge. Like, come on, bro, I can do that all day. Andre 3000 went stupid from front to back. Of course, you have an excellent verse by Raekwon, doing what he does as always. You know, that's just the chef. He cooks it up. And of course, finalized by Big Boy. I think that the hype of this song, the way Andre 3000, this song stands out because of the video. I remember how crazy it looked to see video Andre 3000 in that wig with the helmet, or the wig, blonde wig with, I want to say, like the Southwest DeKalb, or just, you know, it's the South, so he had on like the football pads, shoulder pads, and some. It was just the most wildest fit. I think if I'm seeing it right, I think I might be missing two different outfits together, but he had on a blonde wig in that video, and that joint just was like, yo, this is crazy. But it wasn't in some weird way. It was more just self-expression. And even then, at that time, people were questioning Andre 3000. It's funny how the world changes, but at the time there was just a lot going off, and to just be that confident and comfortable in yourself and your rapping ability to do that with Raekwon on the stage with you, like, it's just, that's a testament to who OutKast, the Dungeon Family is, and why I love this group so much. Next up, for the 7th, we have Elevators. Elevators is one of those tracks that I could not place on here. Just simply because, like, one for the money, yes sir, two for the show. A couple of years ago on Headland and the Low was the start of something good when me and my niggas wrote the martyr through the hood, just trying to find that hook up. Now every day we looked up at the ceilings. See, I could rap all day. Don't get me started on these verses, because I'll do that all day more than I should. I actually should not be rapping and telling y'all why I like it, but that's one of the reasons, because it comes off the tongue so quick and easy. But it's really, that was one of those songs that it didn't sound dated. It sounded so futuristic when it dropped that it took damn near 3 decades for it to even start to sound like, okay, something you've heard before. Like, it was so far out at the time that it dropped that I don't think people have a great understanding of how dope this song was when it released, and what it hit, and how it touched the city, and how it touched the state, and just like that vibe, the bass, like, anyone that hears that song in Georgia knows what time it is, you know, or in the South period. It's just one of those Elevators, you know, Elevators. People try to mimic it, people try to write over it, people try to do the same with art of storytelling. I haven't seen people match what they've done, but it's always good to see people jump on them and try. But Elevators is one of those that it doesn't need to be explained. You know what time it is when Elevators comes on. But yeah, that's 7th for sure. Then for number 8, coming in at number 8, I should say, we have Spodie Oldie Dopalicious. I think the song is so great simply because the backstory of it being performed by Southwest DeKalb, which was a major high school band in the 90s and early 2000s. And if you know the backstory and history of just bands in the South, black bands I should say, you know that there's just a love for that. So that being the background sonics for that song, and just them talking about street life in Atlanta at night, like to sum up what it's like to be young in Atlanta at night at that time, before all of the different gizmos and gadgets and let's do this for IG or whatever. It was just you hanging out in the middle of the night, and just all that encompasses, and what you see, and the smells, and the sights, and the look of everything. And I think they did a great job of just bring you into inner city nightlife in Atlanta, and just what that's like for anybody, and what to expect. And Nothing they said, I have yet to find one thing that they have said in that song that did not transpire in its own way in my own life. And I'm pretty sure if you guys look back on your own life, listen to that song, you've heard and seen that exact stuff shake out. However it shakes out, from the violence to the women to just engulfed in OE, like whatever it is, you've been there before. So it's one of those things that is so relatable even now. I remember listening to it and like just looking around my scenery back when I was like 19 and thinking like this is literally what's going on now. So to for them to paint that great of a picture where it stands the test of time, and OutKast did that a lot, where you can relate to the energy and their ability to just draw you into what is going on, and you see that same stuff reflected even years down the road, is a testament to their creative ability, their writing ability, their storytelling ability, and their ability as MCs. Then coming in at number 9, and this is in no particular order, but just so you know, this is the 9th song that I've chosen. I have Bombs Over Baghdad. Bombs Over Baghdad was a great return for OutKast, just simply from the video, the visuals of the video, to the verses themselves, and the fact that Andre 3000 produced the track himself because he was trying to get something that mirrored Smells Like Teen Spirit, and just the inspiration for that led into this album. I cannot speak enough for how dope this song was when I first heard it, and when it first dropped, it was just like, oh, OutKast can't lose. They can't miss. Like, I don't know how they keep shooting. They be pulling up from half court and they still nail every shot. It's ridiculous. But the urgency of it, I think OutKast does great with double time flows. And when they're doing it like the beats that they choose to do double time flows over is almost, they have to match the energy, otherwise it won't work. But somehow they fit and they ride these beats. They don't ever seem like they're lost in the beat. It's almost like they're driving the beat, like they're forcing the beat to their will and not the other way around. And I guess because they, of course, they made the beat, but the way they know how to flow off this beat and how impactful this song was when it dropped, and still is, how poignant it is, even today, like, you got to give it up for them boys. They were years ahead of them, of anything that's going on, light years ahead. I guess that's why they AC aliens. And for my 10th song, I have Liberation. Liberation was on the Aquemini album, and it is similar to Get Up, Get Out, and Get Something. That's one of the most inspirational tracks that you can hear, simply because they're discussing there's a thin line between love and hate, you see, and baby, I want it. Like, CeeLo rapping on it, or singing on it, doing the chorus, the vocals, what they're talking about. Liberation is one of those tracks that I think will go down, be looked at even years later, even more so than their more popular songs. I think OutKast will be, Liberation will be one of those songs by OutKast that is looked at years from now, 20 more years from now, as one of those songs where, how did this not get as much recognition and acknowledgement as it has received? It deserved that much more, and I don't think it will get that type of recognition until 10, 15 years down the road, simply because, or 20 years down the road, just because it's such a jewel in already a diamond encrusted crown, and it's one of the major jewels, but it's surrounded by a bunch of other diamonds that you just don't see it as much. It just looks like another diamond that you like, oh wait, that's a big ass diamond. That's what Liberation is on the Aquemini album to me. Like, it's one of those that it sums up so much about what they did, what they came from, how they are, and how they moved, that you can't help but love this song. Please check it out, Aquemini, Liberation by OutKast. You won't be disappointed. And so, yeah, man, that's my list. A couple of honorable mentions. I wanted to make sure I shouted out because I was debating on these heavily. Like, it took me a couple of days to like even get a list that I felt comfortable even speaking to y'all about. So honorable mentions, we're gonna do Slump by Cool Breeze, Big Boy, and Backbone. One of those tracks that I love Slump. Like, if you understand how much I love Slump, it's ridiculous. Like, I rap that track. I'm trying not to rap over here, but like, if y'all understood how much I love that song. West Savannah, because I believe West Savannah also on the Criminal show Big Boy's ability to hold his own by himself. Not that he couldn't, he always stood out. If he was doing somebody else's features, Sans Andre, he always stood out. You knew a Big Boy verse, he kills it. But West Savannah is one of those where he just tells about his life in West Savannah, not in Atlanta, but West Savannah, and what he was growing up and dealing with as a young country boy. And I think that just deserves all of the love. Hollywood Divorce, classic, but I think that's known for a couple different things. One, it being on OutKast's last album, Idlewild, excuse me. More for the Lil Wayne feature than anything, because Lil Wayne was on fire at the time. And so I think that while it's a great song and a great OutKast song to go back to, it's not as poignant as some of the other ones that you've seen, which is saying something. Royal Flush, another Raekwon track. I think they got busy on that, and it was a great return to form for all three MCs. However, yeah, I was between that and Skew It on the Barbecue. Skew It on the Barbecue came earlier. They were younger. They were just killing stuff. It was just a perfect marriage for everything to come together. Black Ice, Sky High, Big Gip. Big Gip smokes Black Ice. Like, I love that track. It's not an OutKast track, it's a feature, but it's the fact that the way Big Gip smokes this track is so ridiculous. And of course Andre 3000 and Big Boy kills it, but Big Gip handles like the first 32 bars and just like murders it. So please check out Black Ice, Sky High. You'll love the whole song. They all rip. Like, it goes from start to finish. What else did I have? Some other Beamer Benz from the what's the name of the soundtrack? New Jersey Drive soundtrack, excuse me. If you haven't seen New Jersey Drive, slap yourself and go watch it. Slap yourself again for not watching it. But they also have a soundtrack that was classic in the 90s, and one of the best songs that OutKast has ever made was on there, called Beamer and Benz. That being said, I didn't put on there because it was a soundtrack album. It wasn't their album per se, and so it's kind of like it's a Lucy. Same with Soul Food, In Due Time. I think that was more of a Lucy because it wasn't for their album, but definitely worth the listen because Andre 3000 and Big Boy rap their ass off. And lastly but not least, I have TransDF Express. TransDF Express, I don't care what y'all say, that's one of those joints that you need to check out, enjoy, and love, because that song is so sick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll put TransDF Express against a lot of stuff, but TransDF Express, please check it out. Dungeon Family comes hard on that whole album. It's a compilation album, that's why I didn't include OutKast song on there. But also, while it's in my head right now, Roses, gotta give it up for Roses, and Mighty O, because when it came out, Mighty O was like a return to form. We thought we was really getting another album. I thought we was getting another album. So I'm disappointed that I didn't get another album, but I am grateful that it produced tracks, Idlewild tracks such as Mighty O and things of that nature, because you couldn't have got it without it. And there's a lot of other songs that I could get into, and I may get into this and start doing a series on this myself, but you guys let me know what you think about my selection. Those are my 10 plus some honorable mentions. Let me know what you love, what you hate, and how I can get better at this thing. But yeah, man, it's your boy IllWillHuntingTV, reporting live from where the wild things are. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. Till next time, peace.